That's good.
It would be fun. It could happen.
We're ready to go. You ready to go?
Do we have everything? Yep. Yep.
There you go.
Action.
Great. Welcome. Good evening. This is This Normal, brought to you by the Center for Positive Sexuality and Exquisite Restraint Corsets, although my wonderful co-host Simone is again not here this evening. I'm Emily, and we have Skye. Hello. We have Skye back again for our show this evening. She's filling in for Simone, so she's dressed very much like Simone, except that she didn't take her t-shirt apart and sew it back together and do other weird things with it and put obscene words on it, much like Simone would do.
And mold.
But give her time. It'll happen. We have a wonderful guest for you this evening, but before we bring her on, we of course want to do our Sex in the News segments, and we have other topics to discuss and things related to the center and everything. Our first thing of note that we need to bring up, some of you may or may not know, this was rather shocking news that we received yesterday, that a very close friend of ours, someone who's worked with the center for many, many years now, as one of our presenters, George Wong, passed away yesterday morning. Apparently, from what I've heard, it had to do with complications related to liver cancer, but I'm not certain of that. But that was very sad news. So as we find out about services and things, we'll try to let you guys know. We know that many, many people, not just in Los Angeles, but in San Francisco and Chicago and New Orleans and a bunch of other cities, all knew George Wong. If you didn't know him or didn't know about him, you can certainly go to our website and look under our Meet the Staff page and read his bio there. Eventually we will move his bio or rearrange it a little bit, but we're going to keep a tribute to George on our site, I think is our intention at this time, and we will write an official letter from the center missing George. But you know George.
I do know George.
You know George. So.
Mostly met him during Moonlight Roller Disco. But.
And you know what a wonderful place to meet George during the Moonlight Roller Disco. But George Wong was an incredible individual who did so many things and put in so much time for the gay leather communities in many, many cities. He was someone who he promoted a lot of events. He was the event coordinator for several of the leather events and gay pride events in Los Angeles and in other cities. And he also was a judge for a bunch of the leather contests all over the U.S. Never mind being an amazing educator, wonderfully fun guy and funny guy. And so we will miss him. We'll miss him a lot. And, you know, Madam Wong, this is for you. So hopefully George is enjoying his time.
Hope so.
Center activities that are coming up for this month. We have tomorrow night through creativesexuality.org, which is the site that we do a lot of our online live teaching through. We're going to be teaching BDSM Fact and Fiction at 7 o'clock Pacific time. That's tomorrow night. And the following Wednesday on the 15th, same time, same site, we're going to teach Female Sexuality, the Basics. And on the 22nd and the 29th of June, we'll also be teaching classes through there, but we don't know what ones they are yet, so you'll just have to wait and find out. Because we don't know yet. Because we're trying to come up with some new things. So we'll see what happens by then. Also, on the 16th, which is a Thursday. Sure, let's say it's a Thursday. On June 16th at 7 Pacific time, we are reopening the Second Life Center. It's been open, but we haven't been active in there and haven't been able to for a few months because Skye, who leads the Second Life Center, has been without an internet connection for several months.
I'm in college for that one.
So, but now she has a more reliable internet connection, and we have a new volunteer who just started today, Onika, who hails from the Caribbean, And she is a new volunteer sex educator in the Second Life Center. And she'll be starting out. We're just getting her started. She's never used Second Life before, so please be kind to her if you are in there. And on the 16th, we're going to be having a pajama party. So dress your avatars in some crazy pajamas, and you'll get prizes, and we'll do sex trivia and all that fun stuff. And watch our avatars do silly dances. So that'd be neat. And our next show in June is on the 28th. We'll have Is This Normal live on June 28th at 7:30. And we're going to have Skye and her boyfriend Tony on as guests. And they're going to be discussing topics like cross-dressing.
And what it's like to be a partner of a cross-dresser.
Yes, which I think will be very good for a lot of our audience, because we've had a lot of cross-dressers or people asking about cross-dressing. And I think we're also going to try to talk about furries.
Okay.
We've talked about furries before, but we haven't talked about that in a long time, so we're going to bring up furries again, and we'll talk about furries. So that'll be fun. So that is some of those activities. Also, on Monday evenings, June 13th, 20th, and 27th at 7 o'clock Pacific Time, I will be available for private online coaching, also through creativesexuality.org. If you follow us on Twitter, we're B, the letter B, sex positive. You can follow us there and see when things are happening. You can sign up to the newsletter on the website. And the private online coaching, it's drop-in. You don't have to have an appointment. I'll just be there, hopefully, hoping that someone will come in and talk to me and have questions and things. We are still looking for various volunteers. We have a new staff writer for the center. She wrote our newsletter for June, and she wrote our ad copy for the show this evening. So we have a new staff writer, Rin, who hails from Utah. And so yes, there are kinky crazy people in Utah. They're just hard to find. Or easy to find, depending on your definition, I suppose. And she is writing our newsletters and writing our ad copy, and we'll probably also do some blog posts for us and things. So if you liked the June newsletter, it's because Rin wrote it this time and not me. Thank you, Rin, for doing that. But we're still looking for volunteers. We still need people for the Second Life Center, and we need people to work here with us for Is This Normal. We desperately need people to help with the show. So whether or not you actually have production experience, if you want some and you're happy to not get paid, but maybe you'll get dinner out of it.
Happy to not
We'll be happy not to pay you. But would love to have you help out. So if you go to the website, if you go to positivesexuality.org, you can check under our About Us, and it'll show volunteers/interns, and it shows a bunch of jobs we have available. So that would be great.
Speaking of internships.
Yes, you're doing an
I've
internship.
been doing an internship at a pet shelter called Pet Orphans of Southern California. They have a website, which is petorphans.org. And they deal with cats and dogs that are taken from other shelters and made available for adoption. They're open Mondays through Fridays, 11 to 4, and Saturdays and Sundays, 11 to 5. They have great dogs and great cats. You should definitely give them a call at 818-901-0190. Go get an awesome pet.
So there, you can get some awesome pets. Or you can volunteer there. If you can't take pets home, but you would still want to hang out with pets, you can volunteer there and sit with the doggies and the kitties and pet them and love them and give them love.
Yep.
And prepare them for other homes. So it is a wonderful thing. Also, I wanted to advertise Drs. Patty Britton and Robert Dunlap. We had them on our show many months ago. They're offering a SAR, which is a sexual attitude reassessment training. This is very important for people who want to become sex therapists or sex educators. It is ASEC certified, American Association of Sex Educators, Counselors, and Therapists. You will get, this is part of you getting ASEC certified should you wish to be certified as a sex educator or therapist or counselor. They're doing this in Culver City, August 6th and 7th. So if you go to Dr. Dr. Patti, P-A-T-T-I, Britton, BRITTON.com to get more information. And if you tell them that you were referred to them by the Center for Positive Sexuality, that would be absolutely wonderful, because they're hoping to get some referrals from us. So they're really incredible, and if you go to the SAR, you'll see me on one of those days, because I help teach part of the SAR. So there it is. I think that's all of that stuff. Is that all that stuff? I think so. Before our news topics?
Yes.
Okay, so we've got a couple of news topics before we bring in our guest. Let's do yours, because yours is fun.
Yes. So, there's a computer game, which also is a video game, called The Sims. Currently, me and my friends are playing The Sims 3, which has tons of expansions, and we found that the Sims are not automatically straight, because we made Sims of ourselves, and we copied them into a town, and I had one of my Sims invite my friend over. And the first day it was her normal name, had them invite her over again, and it ended up being her name with my Sim's last name. Both these Sims were female. So apparently Sims are automatically bisexual, and it doesn't matter if they have male or female partners. They can still get married.
Gays can marry in Sims.
Yes.
There you go. So gay marriage is okay in a video game, and apparently automatically happens if
the Sims are compatible together.
If they're compatible and living together.
Yeah.
So,
Perfect.
isn't that wonderful? So apparently this can happen
And
in a
they
video
can still
game.
adopt children.
See? Video games know what they're doing. That's wonderful. I think that's great. Yeah, that would make me play it. That would be fun. So for those of you who don't know, and for those of you who do, today there was a meeting in downtown Los Angeles, all day, between Cal OSHA and various people from the adult industry, mostly the porn industry, correct? And a bunch of other interest groups. Apparently there were about 150 to 200 people there, and the topic was that Cal OSHA, the board of Cal OSHA, was supposed to hear concerns from the porn industry about, quote, mandating barrier protection for all adult shoots. Cal OSHA has been attempting to do this for quite some time now, but in the past several months has come down hard on a lot of adult industry related businesses like AIM Healthcare, which we've talked about, and others, trying to mandate what happens or what does happen or what should happen or can happen on an adult industry shoot. Attorney Paul Cambria was in attendance, along with representatives from the Free Speech Coalition, and they were all in defense of the porn industry. And Cal OSHA claimed that all porn workers are employees similar in nature to nursing or hospital staff that must abide by the same restrictions regarding hazmat materials and procedures. Whereas the porn industry unanimously stated that they were independent contractors and were entertainers similar in nature to stunt performers, professional athletes, etc., which those professions carry certain, deal with certain risks and requirements regarding STDs and body safety, but they don't require absolute barriers between all things. So, professional wrestling, ultimate fighting, all these things, blood, sweat, tears all get mixed with one another. Bodily juices are happening even though it's not vaginal or seminal.
They're not required to get tested.
They're not required to get tested. They're not required to have barriers. But Cal OSHA is saying that porn workers aren't like those people, or aren't like stunt workers who understand that there's a certain amount of risk involved in what they do, but that they are like nursing or hospital staff who must wear barriers and protection gear all the time between them and everyone that they encounter. So Cal OSHA suggested reports of employer screening, sales figures, and customer lists to ensure adherence to the guidelines. Free Speech Coalition attorneys pointed out that they have no authority to those records and that such records have no legal relevance to work safety, which makes sense. Cal OSHA recommends that barrier protections be used in all sexual situations and that no transmission of bodily fluids is to be allowed, including cum shots to the skin of a performer. They were suggesting that all cum shots that are on skin must be faked in post-production. And exceptions for oral sex were suggested to include OSHA-approved testing every 2 weeks. No other tests were deemed necessary, so they seem to think that it's only necessary to test for orally transmitted STDs. Is that what we're thinking? Yeah. But pretty much they were saying that the standard should be always wear a condom, but that testing was not to be a standard. Which to me is not making sense and sounds like an abstinence-only program where you tell them just say no, but we don't have to worry about any of the other stuff, because that doesn't really work.
And condoms break.
Condoms break. Condoms don't protect against everything for all people in all situations. And testing helps to weed out people who are possibly HIV positive or have other STDs before we get to the point of them wearing a condom. So at the end of the meeting, Cal OSHA maintained that the current industry standards of behavior are in violation of current California state law, but that they would consider the concerns that have been raised when drafting new laws in a few months. So pretty much they've decided that everyone in the adult industry has already been working against the law and could be cited. They were also trying to suggest things like it should be the producer's responsibility to pay for the testing of the performers.
For each shoot.
For each shoot. So if you're hiring the same performer 3 days in a row, you're supposed to pay for them to get tested each of those days for each of those performers. It's not going to happen. It's a ridiculous idea. And they were trying to suggest, based on very bad math and very bad science, they were trying to suggest that people who work in the adult industry are much more likely to contract and spread STDs than the general Los Angeles population, which has proven to be absolutely false.
The general population doesn't get tested every
30
days
or at all, generally,
as the adult industry has set for themselves to do.
Yeah. So it's sort of ridiculous. So we'll see how this plays out. But I know that we have a lot of people who work in that industry who watch the show, so you should be aware that this is going on. And be willing to put in your own 2 cents. I thought it was really great that there were so many people who went to this meeting. A lot of people were tweeting about it all day long. And there were several lawyers there, and we're going to be able to get several reports on what happened and what this can mean to various industries, because obviously if this affects the adult industry, it's going to affect a lot of other related industries within Southern California, and will definitely affect our overall budget concerns if no one can make money.
That'll be fun.
It'll be fun. Got anything else before we move on?
Not that I know.
All right, so